Hi everyone, this is Jenny Wood and you're listening to Creating Futures from SALT, the show that speaks to incredible people on their career journey. Today we have a special look back at Season 1 where we spoke to some amazing people on topics including inspiring children, setting boundaries, diversifying STEM, Olympics to business and community building. There really is something for everyone, so please listen and enjoy. And don't forget, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify because Season 2 is coming very soon.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of SALT's podcast, Creating Futures. I'm here today with David Harris, CEO of Engage, Enrich, Excel Academies and Executive Head Teacher. What ways are you guys going about installing confidence in children and encouraging them to be successful and to be ambitious in their careers, whatever their social economic background?
I think the thing is, central to that question is standing in the communities. Across the schools, we have some more middle class schools and some more impoverished schools. And it's about giving them those hopes and dreams to make them want to inspire to do better things. Experience is key for that. So, for example, in some of the schools, we run career fairs for the year 6 and get people to come in and they can ask questions with regards to how they've ended up in their position. And those sorts of things are awe-inspiring. We ask children at the start of the year, what do you want to be when you're older? To try and get them to think of that. And there's no age limit to that. We'll ask 4-year-olds that, we'll ask 11-year-olds that. It's never too early to have that conversation with them because it gets them thinking about the world around them. We've had some children that will turn around and say, actually, I want to drive a taxi when I'm older. And then when you ask them why, they said, that's because that's what my dad does. You have a basis there and then you're like, okay, right, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But let's have a look at what the recipe is that we can give you to inspire you. So for example, some children will turn around and say, I'd love to fly a plane, but no one's ever done that before in my family. And you're like, well, you could be the first. So let's have a look at what you need to do for that. Lots of young children will want to be football stars, and that's a lovely dream for them to have. But we also know it's a tough business to get into, but it doesn't stop us from encouraging them because yes, whilst there's things that have been difficult in the last year, our work is about inspiration. Our work is about giving hope and it's about making sure that we use education. It's a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool to inspire children. And education to me is not just your traditional sit there, do your exams. I actually think that it'll be fascinating in a few years to see the impact of children not having exams over these last few years, to see what difference that makes to them in the workplace going forward.
I'm going to be with the fantastic Jamina Hugh. Jamina is the GM of North America for Fresher, which is the world's leading SaaS marketplace for the beauty and wellness industry.
You know, being in the position that you're at, how do you create boundaries? I'm sure it's very easy to work all hours of the day, but how do you create some boundaries so that you do have some balance, you know, in your life?
Another great question. So boundaries, the way I like to think about boundaries is they're constantly living and moving. So it's good to sit down and I think occasionally write down where your big 5 are ranking in your life. And this is something I like to live by and share with the teams that I work in. So, you know, your big 5 being your finances, your love, your health and well-being, your career, and lastly, your service to the world, your gift to the world. And your value system on that can shift and change constantly in terms of what is taking the first position and what's taking the last position. And with that, sometimes the way you prioritize your values versus the way they show up in your life is different as well. So balance to me is about being able to just pinpoint those items and give yourself the room and the space for fluidity, and then give yourself the kindness to recognize when maybe work has taken precedent and acknowledge it, and then allow for space and time for family to move up or for your well-being and your health. And I think if we can have that kind of flexibility in our lives, then that allows for an overall balance to show up. Another framework that I use to check in on my balance levels is a lot of the time we look at balance as like an even level scale, and that's a great place to be and to aim for.
Yeah.
However, if we live on an even level scale at all times, that can also look like complacency. So when you have, let's just take two of the pillars of life of maybe personal well-being time and then work and career in the right, and sometimes work and career will be high up on the right and life and personal well-being will be on the lower side, but then sometimes that will flip-flop, and you can have life come up on a higher end of the scale, and you take some time off, go on vacation, whatever that be, to nurture yourself. And that balancing of scales is also balance when they flip-flop. So balance doesn't always have to look like this perfect even scale. Sometimes it can move, and I think that gives me peace of mind when it's like, okay, this is a time where I need to spend a little bit more time and focus on a different aspect of my life. I know that I'm going to be managing the other ends and giving them the appropriate time and attention as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Etienne. I am a current senior at the University at Buffalo, majoring in biomedical engineering, and I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
So for those that don't know, the National Society of Black Engineers is short for NSBE. So we're going to call it NSBE from now on. So can you tell us about NSBE's mission and how you became president?
Yes. So NSBE is about promoting and pushing forward Black engineers, both on the undergraduate collegiate level and in the professional level. So through NSBE, you can find internship, jobs, mentorship, which is the piece that I love most about NSBE. So many Black engineers that came before us. So just looking to them for guidance. We have conventions and just different events to really promote and push Black students to not only major in engineering, but to graduate from our programs. I became president because I joined NSBE as a freshman. And I just kind of instantly fell in love with the club. I loved everything that it stood for. I 100% say that I would not be graduating in May if it wasn't for NSBE and the guidance that it provided me. And I just kept joining eBoard. And then eventually the president before me was like, I can tell that you're hungry for this and you love the program. And I think you should run for president. And I was like, president, okay, I guess I will. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I've made in my undergraduate career by far.
I'm excited to be speaking with three-time Olympic speed skater and founder of Raw London, Sarah Lindsay. We talk about her speed skating career, starting your own business, the importance of backing yourself, and lots more. With all the battle wounds that you've accumulated along the way, retrospectively, what's the one thing you wish someone had told you before starting out your own business?
I don't know about that one, to be honest. I think because that kind of implies regret, and I think you've got to learn your own way. Somebody can give you advice, and you can listen, and you take things on and help you make your own decisions. But if somebody had said, and we've gone through some real down times as well, but then there's always a positive that comes out of that, and you think, well, would that have happened if that thing hadn't happened to me? So I think you have to find your own way and learn for yourself and make those mistakes. So yeah, I'm not sure if I wouldn't do anything differently, even though, when I lost my first business, you were one of the very few people I even told about that, really sort of confided in, and that meant a lot to me. When you're around people that have done well and have success, especially in startup businesses, and have done it themselves, and they back you when you're at your worst, that makes you feel that little bit more empowered and a little bit safer. And, it's not all doom and gloom. Everybody just turns around and says to you, happens to everyone, don't worry, you'll come back, it'll be fine, you're amazing. And I think when it comes from people like yourself, or, a couple of other people that were there at that time, and I think people can say that to you, you don't know, do you? It's a difficult one. I'd love to say that to everybody that's going through like a crappy time with their business, especially this year. It's been, everything's been thrown at people, but they will come out the other side. And even if they don't, with regards to the business they're in at the moment, then they weren't supposed to, and they were supposed to move on and do something, and they'll do something better. As long as you never give up, as long as you keep fighting and keep pushing, the story's not finished.
I'm super excited this week with our guest on this episode, who's a fantastic client of mine, Lauren Marinelli, and VP Sales Leader at Vox Media.
How do you switch off, and are there any boundaries that you have in place?
Yes, I'm in a new chapter, an evolution of my own identity. I'm definitely still figuring it out. As you said, I being a new mom, understanding that balance. I used to work really late into late afternoon, into the early evening, and it was super natural for me. It was a time that when my meetings ended, I also felt super productive. I've now had to switch gears. I work earlier because I really try to carve time to be offline from about 5:30 p.m. to at least 7 p.m. to spend time with my little one and have some family time because babies go to bed early. And, boundaries is a great question. I tend to be available, but I also push my team to, bring only urgent things after hours. Vox Media has created a lot of structure and process in the way we set up meetings and have conversations. So I like to instill a lot of that as well. But at the end of the day, I think it really comes down to the way your team is structured as well. We're an organization where people come first, people have families, and we're going to continue to embrace a remote first hybrid model moving forward, and building on a remote friendly culture that Vox Media had prior to the pandemic. About 20% of employees were fully remote.
I'm super excited to be speaking with Danielle Fondane, the co-founder of Run for Coffee, that she runs with Cleo Makopoulos. Run for Coffee is a woman's only running club and network. And in this episode, we talk about how Run for Coffee started, what their plans are for the future, the importance of communities, and lots more.
So when you first started the running group, what did you first envision about it? Was it just wanting to get a group of girls together, kind of safety in numbers, or to have like accountability partners? What was the motivation?
Yeah, I think for me, it was mainly fitness and just, doing something I enjoyed. It wasn't really about, yes, the socializing aspect of it's amazing, but for me, it was more my fitness and my health. And now I can just see how it's kind of changed, how I love being held accountable as well, because if 10, 15, 20 other girls are going to rock up, I also need to be there. So it's kind of a thing, even during winter, when you really don't want to be waking up in the dark, it's freezing, but like a few other girls are doing the same thing. So it's kind of now for me, it's more like a mental and social thing. I really just value the time in the morning to sit down with the girls, check in on them, ask them how work's going. It's hard also. I try not to be on my phone all the time, and I do sometimes struggle to reply to friends or keep updated with their lives and things like that. So in the mornings, it's so great seeing a bunch of my friends and just being like, how's it going?
And that's it. That's our little summary of season 1. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a little taster of the types of interviews that we do. We do have some amazing interviews coming for season 2 on inclusivity and diversity, mental health, well-being, and careers. So don't forget to click that subscribe button on Spotify. Find us, it's Salt Creating Futures, and we'll see you very soon.